Hey you guys, hello and welcome. How are you? I hope you're all having a beautiful day. It's just a little bit earlier on in the day. It's just early morning here and finally getting some nice sun. And I'm here with a lot of my plants, and it's just a really happy day so far. So I wanted to start off the day with a little video for you guys, and this is on one of my absolutely favorite plants. Oh, that makes me so happy. This is the rose painted Calathea. I know a lot of people say Calathea. Personally, I say Calathea, so sorry in advance if that bothers you, but that's just how I say it. It's in the Marantaceae family. It's a native of northeastern Brazil. Marantaceae family being the prayer plants, and this particular variety is called Medallion, and it's just so beautiful. I highly recommend this plant. More for like an intermediate gardener, though. If you're a beginner gardener, it could be a little hard for you. And I'll get into that soon. You'll see every single one of these plants I've ever seen in my entire life has brown spots. I was doing really well with this plant for quite a while, and then I went on Instagram and I was like, wow, look at my plant. This is so easy to take care of. I don't know why people have problems with it. And then immediately afterwards, I just started getting crispy leaves. I think I jinxed myself. So I guess I'll start off with what it likes and just the environment. Most important thing, hands down, for this plant, I'm gonna have to say, is humidity. If you've seen other videos on YouTube about this plant, you'll know that that's a pretty common recurring theme. I personally miss this once when I wake up, and then I missed it again till the leaves are just saturated wet before I go to bed. I do that again at nighttime because when the lights are all off, the mist stays around the plant, and you get more humidity. If you don't do that, you're gonna get these really kind of unsightly blotches, and after a while, new leaves on this plant are just gonna dry up. I had that case. I'll actually pull it off for you guys right now, if I can. One of the new leaves is just completely gone, and that's because I forgot to mist it. So yeah, this plant is a little temperamental that way. Dang, I have some really like yellow lighting, so I promise you I just brushed my teeth. They're not that yellow. So this plant, over time it gets a little bit taller. The petioles or the stalks of the leaves get a little bit taller. It'll get a little bit more than double the height of this here, so approaching 3 feet. So they can get a lot taller than some people think. This is pretty mature width, I would say. Although for like one single clump, but they do spread. And when they spread, sometimes you can get just beautiful clumps. That can be quite wide. It's actually a really good landscape plant if you live in a really humid area. I know some people in Florida grow these just as like hedges. It's like crazy. Another thing I want to say is compared to other Calatheas, this one here doesn't seem to be that bad for spider mites. I know I have the Trio Star here. This guy is absolutely ridiculously horrible for spider mites. 10 out of 10, do not recommend it if you have a spider mite problem. I didn't have any spider mites until I brought this into my home, and now they're everywhere. Well, not everywhere. I'm getting it put together. And I'll make another video on this one here. Here's the pinstripe Calathea ornata. A lot easier of a plant, a lot less fussy, more resistant, just overall, generally speaking, better plant in my opinion. Calathea macayana, my personal favorite. This one's so easy and forgiving. But, sorry, in my opinion, this one here is probably the most showy. Another thing I want to say is chlorine. These guys hate chlorine. If you have even really good tap water, like here in British Columbia, we're well known for our tap water. We're actually one of the leading places for tap water, or for water extractions from Nestle. You guys have probably heard of that company, I imagine. And we're known for having really good tap water. And this guy still doesn't like it. So what I highly recommend to get rid of the chlorine in your tap water is just to let it sit in a shallow, wide tray for about 20 hours or so. It tends to evaporate out, and then this plant loves that. You'll notice it'll turn yellow very quickly if you give it too hard chemistry water, and the yellow doesn't go away. And usually it attacks a lot of the newer growth, and then you have to kind of cut that out, and then the plant's a little slower. Now, this plant's all about finding the sweet spot. Once you find a place where it's happy, it'll grow quite quickly, but if you find it in a place where it has some challenges, namely low humidity, it'll grow very slowly for you. Propagation's really easy. You just propagate them via these little divisions. I don't recommend propagating this plant super early. They don't like being moved a whole lot, and they do experience some dieback. I tried and my propagation actually failed, so pretty difficult plant to propagate. They do perfectly fine in artificial light. Here I have it about 3.5, 4 feet away from the window. This window is east facing, almost directly east, slightly to the north. And a lot of my aroids really love that. I don't know if you guys can see, it's somewhat shaded. I would definitely not say it's bright indirect light. It's definitely leaning more towards just indirect soft light. This plant here will definitely crisp up if you have it too close to a window. If you guys want to acclimate these guys outside, I recommend doing it in an area that has a bit of cover. They don't like temperature fluctuations too much either. This plant here, my room here is almost always 19 to 21 degrees Celsius. Sorry if you guys do Fahrenheit, I have no idea what that is. But it tends to do really well for all of my prayer plants in general, including my Marantas. And I actually have more downstairs, and it's around 20 degrees there too, and they're also happy. So just something to consider. Even to the point where if it's the winter where you are, and you're taking these plants home outside, out of like, I don't know, the grocery store or wherever you get them into your car, much like a poinsettia and around Christmas time, I very highly recommend putting them in a box or like a really well insulated bag, because they can even suffer from just that little transfer from the store to your car in the parking lot. They're that sensitive. So yeah, this plant loves being evenly moist. Definitely recommend you have good drainage. If you let this sit for too long, it'll become, it's kind of hard to describe. Maybe I have a leaf that actually shows it. No, I might have pruned those. It looks almost chlorotic. It becomes really pale, and that's because it has root rot at that point, and then the leaves don't absorb as much water as they should. So just another thing to be mindful of. But nevertheless, this plant has a really hard reputation, but it is possible to grow them. You're going to have a few battle scars along the way, but it gives them character. They make beautiful gifts, and don't be intimidated by what other people tell you about plants. For all you know, you could have the perfect growing conditions for them and just not know it. So don't be scared. Worst thing that can happen is it doesn't do very well. Kicks the bucket. They're not very expensive these days. They've definitely lowered in price, and then you can just get another one. Yeah. So have a beautiful day, you guys. I'll be back soon. I'm really happy and excited to be making content a lot more frequently. It's really fun. And I hope I'm teaching you guys something fun and something cool. Yeah, so stay blessed and see you soon.